An interesting comparison I'd make to describe my thoughts on Series 3 is that it reminds me a lot of the Sam Raimi Spider-Man trilogy. Incredibly well put together, for the most part knows the tone it wants to go for, has an incredibly strong guest cast who undeniably became famous following this release. However, it suffers from a major issue, being the emotional and romantic storylines of the main characters. This is the point where we get to see the more angsty version of the 10th Doctor, which some of it works and some of it doesn't. David Tennant really does justice to the Doctor's regret regarding being the last of the Time Lords. However, his obsession with Rose and trying to convince us that John Sims' version of the Master is supposed to be sympathetic, I don't really buy that, so at points I can find him quite unlikable, which is admittedly intentional, and his neglect of Martha is meant to be the point, but I still feel bad for her and feel that she deserved a bit more focus, as I prefer Martha to Rose on the whole. Thankfully, we get a break from the 10th Doctor with Human Nature and Blink, which are not only the strongest stories of this season and potentially some of the best Doctor Who ever made, it's another example of showing love to expanded material, with both of them being adaptations, but also arguably better than the original source material. So yeah, it's not without its problems, but there's so much good in Series 3 that I can overlook, sometimes finding the 10th Doctor a bit grating, as other times he is just as great as people say. This is absolutely the point where Russell found his stride and knew exactly what he wanted to do, and really got comfortable as the showrunner. The finale is a bit of a disappointment, but not to the extent that a lot of people say that it is. And one of the reasons I don't like the reset in the finale is the fact that it somewhat takes away the Doctor's responsibility and doesn't give an opportunity to learn from his mistake. Overall, it's a return to form after the somewhat messy Series 2, where even some of the weaker stories like Daleks in Manhattan do have a lot of creative value and interesting ideas.